I worked on cruise ships as a dancer and also crew staff, and we called so much damn bingo. We would do it twice a day. People were so into it. It felt like the biggest part of my job. And I remember thinking, if I never call another bingo number as long as I live. Do you ever get sick of bingo?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. It's
Well,
human.
you know what, Dennis? Excuse me. You can't, this is what I learned. You can't question it. If I stand up there and it's happened, and I say to myself, this is so ridiculous. All we're doing is calling these numbers. And sometimes if I really go too far, I'll look at a ball and it'll say G57. I'm like, does it really say G57? That doesn't make, it's like saying a word over and over till it doesn't
You
make.
start to go a little nuts, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
this is what I want you to know. Before every show, I completely clear my head. And when I go up on that stage, I have no expectations. I don't even like, I don't think, okay, so I'm going to do this first, I'm going to do this second, I'm going to do that third. I mean, of course, we have like tent poles,
Sure.
Hamburger Berries, who's ready to play bingo? Da 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 da. Here's how you use your bingo cards. Here's how that. But everything else in between, we don't have it planned. So that's the only way I can do it is I literally have to empty my brain and just get out there. And by standing there in front of the audience, I figure out what it is I'm going to do. So, and that keeps it fresh.
I love that. Why do people love bingo?
Isn't it weird? Because if you think about, so tomorrow night I have 200 people. Of those 200 people, 10 are going to win. So 190 people are going to go home without winning. And somehow we still have to make it fun for them because
Yeah,
why bother? I think it's that you almost always win. It's gambling. Like you almost like you're
it's
one.
just
That's what
this
we do.
close.
Yes,
Interesting.
I'm one away. That's why we tell people when you're one away, yell, it's on. Because when, like, if you were there and I was there and I'm really close and then I hear you go, it's on, I go, fuck,
Yeah,
so there's an emotional like it's okay in the end if you don't win, but during it it's
yeah,
pretty, you think I'm going to win.
right on. Here's my final question. I'm sure growing up and you had different aspirations, I don't think you probably thought this was going to be what it is. Why does it make perfect sense now that you're living it? Or how do you feel about that this is your life?
I feel grateful. I do. I feel like I have no regret. Of course, when I was a little kid, I thought I was going to be the star of a TV show. I used to ride my bike along and I had theme music and everything. And like the cameras were on me and it was like, do, 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 I'm riding my bike, my little Stingray. And,
Yeah,
and I, at one point tried acting, I was in a movie called Orgasmo that,
I
you know,
remember that movie.
yeah, I was the porn star shaving his balls in Orgasmo.
Thank you.
Um, yeah,
That might
and
be the title of this podcast, even though it has nothing to do with bingo, but I like a
I
punchy
shared it.
title.
I shared a dressing room with Ron Jeremy, and there would be times when I'd run into him at some event, and he always said, "Hey, it's the ball shaver." So that was fun. But I I I tried all different things like that as far as performance stuff,
Yeah.
and it never like really stuck. I stopped auditioning for commercials because it just made me mad. They made you wait like 45 minutes to an hour, and I would leave a lot of times, and my agent would be like, well, you can't leave, and I'm like, they should be on time. I'm sorry, I might
Yeah.
have the ego for that. So doing this checks a lot of boxes for me because I get that performance thing going, but I also run a business, and I like being I've always been a business person, artist.
Right.
I always have to like two sides of my brain. So I would say that I never in a million trillion years would have thought this is what I would do. But I'm going to be honest with you. You know how kids say when I was a kid, I wanted to be this or that. I
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I don't remember ever wanting to be anything except what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do tomorrow? And that I never have had a 9 to 5 job. I
Yeah.
have I always took the creative route and I always got shit for it from my family. I remember my father saying to me, "You can't just do whatever you want." And I'm like, "Why not?" And so I have lived this life and I have been so poor, that I don't even want to tell you how poor I've been, but I have been so poor because I insisted that the creative route was for me.
Yeah.
And same time,
I talk about this all the time on the podcast. I never saw the other road.
no, there is no other road. It's just like gay, straight, whatever. I didn't choose this. It was it was maybe because of my, messed up family. Sorry. But there's never been anything else. I've always just thought that somehow I'm going to express myself or whatever. So I'm not a religious person. I'm a very spiritual person. And
Hmm.
I believe that what I do was somehow meant to be. And it's offered me so many wonderful opportunities and the people that I've got to meet. Like I said, like I have, I've been able to like sit and talk with Florence Henderson. Okay.
Right.
And all of and back when we were at Dupar's, we used to be able to we had Rosemary and Lonnie Anderson and all these great people, Dick Van Patten, and all these great people from back then. And we can't anymore because the audience is too young and they don't know who they are.
Right.
So, but I've had the opportunity, all the people that when I was growing up that I watched their shows and all, I've been able to meet them and have a bonding moment with them. I'm not saying we're friends,
Right.
but I have lived this Nick at Night life and I really appreciate it. And, I am sitting here right now, I'm stable. I live in a pretty nice house and you know what I mean? And my business is still 26 years later, still going strong. So gosh, I am grateful beyond anything.